Hey gang, Juicy here at Utila Dive Center. Today I'm going to talk to you about a topic that all of us can always improve on, our buoyancy. First off, let's start super simple and just talk about what is neutral buoyancy. Most people float. So to dive, we need to add lead to our scuba system to help us and our equipment sink slightly. In other words, we want to be slightly negatively buoyant. Once we sink, due to our slight negative buoyancy, we need to then increase our displacement, or in simple terms, our size. Neutral buoyancy is when us and our gear weigh exactly the same amount as the water we are displacing. Let's break it down like our homeboy Archimedes would. If you had a tank of water that was completely full to the top, and you put on your scuba gear and gently got into the tank without splashing, an amount of water equal to the size of you and your gear would fall out onto the floor, right? If you could pick up that water and put it on a scale, it would have a weight. If the water weighs more than you, then you float. If it weighs less than you, then you sink. And if you weigh the same, you are neutrally buoyant. So back to our initial concept. We put weights on us to sink, then use our BCD to take up more space in the water so we can take up space that weighs the same amount as us. First thing you need to have good buoyancy is to have enough weight to stay underwater while doing your safety stop. In other words, with your lowest amount of gas you plan to have in the tank in your dive. I would recommend doing a dive that allows you to consume your gas until it reaches reserve pressure, usually 700 psi or 50 bar. Then do a buoyancy check. Take a normal breath and hold it. Keep all of your equipment in place, mask on, reg in, and without moving, deflate your BCD. You should float right at about eye level. And when you exhale, you should be able to sink. Most of us dive pros have encountered the diver that wants to use 24 pounds of lead because it's easier for them to stay down. No, no, no. Extra weight does not help you at all. It drags you down and it makes it more difficult to move efficiently through the water. Also, having that much weight can cause you to sink really fast. Not ideal if you're having trouble equalizing. Now let's talk about the start of our dive and the process of the dive. At the beginning, you and your gear are heaviest, so you will need to add some air to your BCD to get neutrally buoyant once you get down to your descent point. As you go down more, that air can compress, so you might need to add more throughout your dive. As you ascend throughout your dive, the air will expand, so you will need to release some of that air from your BCD. However, we don't want to spend our whole dive inflating and deflating our BCD. This is where our lungs come into play. We can make small adjustments just through breath control. For example, if you start to float up, don't instantly deflate your BCD. First, exhale. This should stop you ascending and most likely cause you to sink. Using breath control allows you to conserve gas in your tank and enjoy much longer dives. Buoyancy can also be dictated by weight placement in your scuba unit. Putting the weights in different locations on you will have the effect of balancing you in the water, also known as trim. Other adjustments that can help with your trim, other than weight placement, are whether or not you're wearing booties with your fins, the thickness of the neoprene of those booties, and also the buoyancy of your fins themselves. Some fins float, some sink, and some are neutral, so you need to consider what benefits your buoyancy and trim when purchasing your fins. At the end of the day, less is more applies to this situation. You don't want a lot of extra weight on your dives, and nothing takes the place of experience. Get in the water and dive, but don't just do it aimlessly. Pay attention to what's happening throughout the dive. Pay attention to what happens when you add air to your BCD, or when you inhale or exhale, or add or subtract weight. Diving can sometimes rely on trialing different options, and that's also true with weighting. I always told my open water students, when you're underwater, go completely still. If you sink, you're negatively buoyant. Be lazy and add air to your BCD. If you need to kick to stay at one level, you're negatively buoyant. Be lazy, add air to your BCD. Well, there you have it. Some of the basics to start understanding how to improve your buoyancy. But like I said, nothing is better than diving. So get down here and do some dives with us, and we can help you become super confident with your buoyancy in the water. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave any questions you might have in the comments below. Signing out from UDC's YouTube channel, I'm Josiah Mackin.